Welcome, everyone. You found Sanctuary's Team Talk. This is a place where you could learn a little bit more about the women behind Sanctuary Magazine. I'm Myrna Haskell, the executive editor of Sanctuary, and this is an online publication for women with a focus on the arts, philanthropy, health and wellness, culture, and community. You can find us at sanctuary-magazine.com. This morning, I have Dr. Jenipher Cornelius with me. She is an educator. She is the owner of Crescenta Summit Consulting, and this is where she specializes on change management and leadership development, but she also happens to be one of our senior editors, and she is the business and leadership editor, and we're so proud and honored to have her. So good morning, Jenipher. It's great to have you this morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
So I love to start these off because they're relaxed and we're just trying to bring our community in to learn a little bit more, some intimate stuff about us and who we are and how we tick and all of that. So I started off by just talking a little bit about how we met one another. And this was actually a little over 2 years ago at this point. And Jenipher and I met at a business roundtable that was hosted by Denise Lawrence. And the beauty about that particular workshop slash roundtable was that we all had the opportunity to talk a little bit personally about, what we did and some of our challenges and those types of things. And so Jenipher and I connected there and we contacted one another. And the first thing that she did for Sanctuary was she was one of our experts for our interactive Ask an Expert section that many of you who already follow Sanctuary know about. It's under our guest room section. And she did such a phenomenal job with that we said, hey, would you like to write for us on a regular basis? So she did that for quite a while. And then in January, she joined our senior team. So we're really excited to have her. And she has such wonderful expertise when it comes to business and leadership. And it was something we really needed in the magazine. So I want to give Jenipher the floor to talk a little bit more about what she does, and also if she could share an accomplishment or two that she's most proud of to this point in her career.
All right, thank you. And hi, everyone. So I am a consultant. That is my full-time role, if you will. And as Myrna mentioned, I work on change management and helping businesses walk through different change initiatives and making sure that their culture stays exactly at the level that they want. And also, I have a focus on leadership development. And one of the things I always say is that people are my passion, and I want to help everyone grow, which is how I also got into being an educator. And I do adjunct teaching at two different universities. One is I teach in the Master's in Leadership program, and another school I teach in their MBA program. And I really focus on helping the students who are usually adults, coming back to school. I help them grow in their leadership. I help them grow in their writing, and I help them just grow in their thinking and their critical thinking. And so those are things that are really important to me and that I find to be very valuable to help in our world, is to just help grow people.
I
And so
love that. And that fits right in with we're all people. I think our entire team is comfortable with just talking to people and connecting and networking, right? And
yes,
so I love that you said that about what you do. But I'm
yes,
dying to hear about an accomplishment or two too that you're most
yeah.
proud
The biggest accomplishment that I would say up to this point is getting my doctorate. So this was something that I didn't necessarily know I had a passion to do until it was thrown in my face. And I started teaching one course, and I went to my mentor after that course, and I said, "What do I have to do this more?" And she said, "You need a doctorate." And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know that I want to do that." And she said, "Well, if you want to do that, you need a doctorate." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me sit on this." And I made the decision very shortly after that conversation to pursue my doctorate. And I had to really dive into all of the different doctorates that you could get. And I opted for the Doctorate of Strategic Leadership. And the reason I went this route is because it was very focused on application. So we did all the research that you need to do to become a doctorate, but we didn't focus on that. It was 70% application in your work and 30% research.
of.
So
Okay.
I did this while I was a fairly new mom to,
I was going to ask you that.
he was my youngest, was not even 1 year old when I
You're
started.
very brave, Jennifer.
He was not even one. My oldest, she had to have been 3 when I started the program. And this left my husband as a single dad, if you will, for nearly 3 years. Every other weekend, I was sitting in front of my computer for, 24 to 36 hours to make sure I'm getting my work done. I also worked full time at another organization. And so it really stretched me. It stretched me beyond limits that I thought I was capable of. But afterwards, I realized just how strong that program made me, not just through my education, but through my resilience and ability to conquer the things that I didn't think were possible. So that is my biggest accomplishment.
Well, that's quite the accomplishment. And since you brought up the children, any advice for all those ladies out there that are struggling with that whole work-life balance thing? I mean, that can encompass so many things,
Yeah.
right? Helping
Yeah.
to care for elderly parents,
Yes.
juggling work and family responsibilities, just all of that. Some people working 2 and 3 different jobs, like anything you want to just throw out there about that.
Yeah. I would say that work-life balance is something that is created right here. And I'm pointing to my brain for people who might be listening to this and not watching it, but we create our own work-life balance. If it becomes overwhelming and we feel we're at capacity, we're the only ones that can shift that mindset into creating a new work-life balance. And that's not to say that you don't need a break or that you don't need grace or you don't need help. But it is okay to shift your mindset to push yourself to grow even a little bit further. And if you have that one person that you're working on all of these things for, that is going to be your finish line. And every time you take another step towards that finish line and you have that person to see, maybe that's a child, maybe that's a spouse, maybe that's any other loved one, or even the good Lord above, you're working towards that finish line for somebody else. And sometimes it is for yourself, and that's okay. So give yourself some grace and just know that you're stronger than you think.
And you know what I find too? And just a couple of things. First of all, when I was listening to you about, working on your PhD and stuff, um, I find that a lot of writers tend to be very good with time management, of course, because we live and breathe, with deadlines all of the time. So
Deadline.
that's helpful, right? But
Yes.
then I also find that a lot of writers and specifically editors, maybe too, like tend to be type A sort of perfectionist
Hmm.
personalities as well.
Hmm.
And so a struggle that I have is taking that step back that you talk
Yeah.
about, giving yourself grace
Mhm.
because I have all these things piled on and like, I want to knock myself in the head when I haven't completed everything I expected to complete for the day. Or, those days where you were at the computer all day or you were running around doing business stuff and covering it or whatever you were doing. And then you went, what did I do today? Like you're
Yeah.
not sure what you did. Like
Yeah.
there's all of that. I think that a lot of women have a hard time with the grace part, a hard time with do the self-care and
Yeah.
and don't even make it like it's a lot of women it's a chore the self-care because now it's just another thing to fit in, just like
Yes.
if you're feeling stressed out, stop, go
Yeah.
walk outside for 20 minutes, right? Or
Yeah.
something. I don't
Just
know. I'm still
shut your
working on
eyes.
it, I will say
Shut
that.
your eyes and breathe. And like I think there's a statistic out there that says like 3 deep breaths in a moment of stress can reduce your internal like conflict or whatever it is
Or
going
your
on.
brain going 1,000
Yeah,
miles a
yeah.
minute,
And so
right?
those 3 deep breaths, and one thing that I have learned, and I just happen to conveniently have it here, is I have this block timer on my desk
Oh,
because when I start to feel myself getting ramped up, there's a 5 minute on there, and I click it over to the 5 minutes, and I just sit here in silence. I don't look or touch anything. I just sit in silence and I just let myself like feel what is it that I'm overwhelmed by? What is it that I'm getting stressed out about? What is it? Breathe. Like,
Yeah.
take a breath. It's okay. Like,
Sometimes we don't even know we're breathing, right?
yes. Yes. So that is,
Oh,
I don't
I
know
love
where
that tip though, Jennifer. I love that tip.
I don't know where
That's
I learned
fabulous.
it.
It's
Like,
like a meditative thing,
yes.
really, what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Right, right. And so, when you're looking at your computer or you're looking at your phone or you have your kids or your husband or whomever is just like coming at you with all of the things. I need this, I need this, I need this. Okay, I need a minute. That's actually I need five. And so
Right,
when you
right,
hear this timer go off is when you can approach me or when I will go back to it. But like I just know that when you give yourself a minute or 5 minutes or whatever it is that you need to do, 20 minutes going outside, vitamin D, take a walk around the block. Those things are not self-care. That's not survival. That is necessary to refill you to keep going
right,
because
right.
every time we run out of gas, we're not working at our absolute best. And
That's
so if
right.
we figure out how to recharge or how to fill up the tank again, then we're going to be recharged for the next million things that we have on our to-do list.
Right. And I have to, yeah. Maybe I need to have you on speed dial and go, okay,
We're just
yell
going to
at me,
sit.
tell me to do my 5 minutes. Okay, so as you know, and those of you that are familiar with Team Talk, you know that we have a couple fun questions that we ask our team members so you can kind of get to know them a little bit better, more personally. So Jennifer picked a few of those out. I had come up with some of them are crazy, some of them are more like things you heard about before, but I love the ones she picked. And so one of the things that she picked was she wanted to talk about if she had the time, speaking of time, to sit and binge watch something for an entire Saturday afternoon to shut her brain off, what would that be?
Yeah, I thought really long and hard about this question because I was like, what is my favorite show? And do I have a favorite show? And
Right.
I've narrowed it to a theme of shows. And so I'm a reality TV junkie, and that could be anything from The Housewives to Love is Blind to Beat Bobby Flay to um um
Beat Bobby Flay. That's cool. And
I love
everybody's addicted. A lot of people are, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people are addicted to the
yes,
Housewives shows. It's a
yes,
nice way to shut your brain off and just have
just
fun, I
not
think.
think. Yeah.
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 So which
So
one is it though?
I like new I haven't watched them for a little while because I've like really taken a step back on TV, but I like New York. I like uh Beverly Hills. I loved Dallas when they were going. So, it could be I'm not too particular. Like, I love just watching them and just seeing what they're up to. Seeing what they're wearing really is what I love to.
I know, right? Yes.
That is my youngest, Nora, she is really into fashion and she loves everyone's look. And this last year we went to Dubai and there's a show on Netflix called Dubai Bling. And so we watch it and she sits there and she's like, "Ooh, mom, look at her outfit. Mom, I love her
Maybe
look."
she's going to be a designer.
She, I don't know about it.
Sometimes these things that you
She's,
notice when they're little, though, because mine are all grown up, they come
she
true.
she puts together some very wild things. And so, but yeah, I just love anything reality. I thought of the other one I couldn't think of, but Naked and Afraid. I love
Oh,
that
I
show.
don't know that one. Okay.
So basically they're dropped into a location and they're naked. The two people, usually a man and a female, and they're dropped into some like crazy remote location with
Oh
very
gosh, that's not, I could never do that.
challenging circumstances and they have to survive and use survival skills for 21 days. And
Yeah. So it's a
again,
survival series, then it
yeah,
sounds like, yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the important thing, though, with this question is, and we talk about that whole piece where, if you're type A or you have a high stress personality and all of that, that these kinds of things are a way to reset your brain
Yeah.
into a more relaxed mode because
Yes.
you're either laughing or you're looking at something that's interesting to you in one way or another. Like, say somebody, binges like the History Channel or something, they
That's
want
my
to learn
husband.
about stuff. So,
We're both.
whatever it is, I think,
Yeah.
whether it's fun or it's historical or it's about food or whatever it is, it's taking you away from those daily challenges and your long laundry list of things to do, I think, right?
The grind is not grinding. It's grounding.
Yes.
So that is a nice thing about being able to take just some time and I also was like, do would I sit and watch a show or would I actually listen to a book? Because I'm a big reader and I
Me too.
absolutely love reading. And right now I go between physically reading and listening to Audible. But yeah, I came back. I was like, no, I probably if I'm listening to a book, that means I'm doing laundry or doing something around the house on a Saturday. So that means that's no, I need to.
And just so everyone knows, and I'm not going to say what it is, but if you took a look at our community compass that was published last week, she recommended something for readers. So you have to go look at our team talk and community compass for that. But anyway, Jennifer, so profession in a previous life.
Yes. My profession in a previous life would be one of two things. One, it would be a lawyer, probably litigation, because I love to argue, and really love to research and get it right and argue my point. Um, when the situation arises. And then the other would be a chef or a baker because I grew up with my grandparents. My grandmother taught me how to cook and I was always in the kitchen with her and I just absolutely loved that so much. And I do it all the time and which hence Beat Bobby Flay is one of my shows. My husband always tells me, he's like, you should go on Beat Bobby Flay. And I'm like, listen, I don't create these recipes. Like, I am very good at following recipes and, we'll do a little pinch here, an extra pinch there of something. But yeah, so I would either be an attorney, a litigator, or a chef.
I love to cook too. And you know what? We have several other people on the team who love to
I
cook. And I just
know.
want to remind you then, Jennifer, that we have our community cookbook that we're working on right now. And that doesn't just include our readers, but our team members to send in a recipe that includes at least one ingredient that's important in some way to the area that you live. Either
Yeah,
it's, grown everywhere there, or there's a history behind it, or whatever it is. So just to throw that out there too to listeners that
perfect.
we have a community cookbook that we're working on right now. But anyway, so this one I love, and it's what was the best piece of advice that you got from someone along the way that's really stuck with you over the years?
Yeah, my piece of advice is your network is your net worth. And I learned that early on in my career about building relationships and making sure that if you build an organic relationship with intention, you never know what doors will open for you. And this opportunity right now with you is case in point of how important it is to, build out your network and diversify your network and really just make sure that you're doing that with intention and not being afraid to talk to people. And the other
Yeah.
part of that is it's okay if you're an introvert, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I would never. You find different ways and different avenues to be able to build a network that works for you. And you don't have to be that center of attention in the conference, in the crowd saying, hey, everyone, bring me your business card. But you do find those ways. And so, yes, your network is your net worth, and make sure that you do that with intention.
I'm glad you brought up the networking thing because there are women out there that, they're a little nervous about going to a networking event, especially if they don't bring someone with them. I think that sometimes if you bring someone, it's okay if you're bringing someone because you're specifically introducing them to the host or you want them to meet certain people or whatever. So there's all different reasons we go or we bring people. But if you can get past those nerves and go on your own, I think it opens you up to meeting new people
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And then the other piece to it is I believe in such a thing as like sort of the energy, the universe kind of bringing us together. I mean, you and I, for instance, like we connected immediately, I feel
Yes.
like.
Yes.
And I feel that way about all of the team members. And speaking of organic growth, we grew very slowly and very organically with the magazine. And one of the things that I always wanted to make sure of was that whoever was coming onto the team to work with us more regularly, that wasn't just a guest post or something like that, really understood and believed in the mission of the magazine, right? And that someone also that could really work, like team player is thrown around like too much almost, right?
Right.
But a true team, it's, I don't want to say family necessarily, but a true team really, really respects all of the opinions in the room, listens to those opinions, maybe takes some of that on, but is also not afraid to speak their mind when they don't agree and that kind of thing, right? When it's really, really, truly that way, that's team collaboration. And I think that brings an energy sort of to the room that's quite remarkable, especially with all women teams. Because, women, I know that it can be very energetic and it could sometimes go off topic, but I can say when we have our in-person editorial meetings, we get like 3 months of work done in like 4 hours,
Yeah.
versus the online, the emailing back and forth. And again, that's the energy, I think. And I think certain people are drawn to others with that energy. So we have at Sanctuary, we have an energy where everyone really cares about community.
Mhm.
They really care about relationships with other people. I think that our team is very positive.
Yes.
And I think that that had a lot to do with what I was also attracted to, as I was building the magazine. And I think that that really shows in what we put out there, besides the fact that I always brag about my team, that they're the best writers anywhere.
Huh.
I'll put
That's,
up my team's articles to any magazine, and I really
I
mean that
love
from the
that.
bottom of my heart. It's a very well written publication. But all of the people on our team really care.
Mhm.
And I think that that just segues naturally into meetings and collaboration and how we work with one another. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely agree. One of the things that this is the advice I give to my husband all the time is we're the energy of the party we want to have. And so if you want to have this high flying, like upbeat energy in any situation that you are going into, that's the energy you need to bring. And if you're bringing a certain level of energy, people feed off of that and they are either going to turn away from you or they're not going to embrace you fully and get to know you because of the energy that you're bringing. And so it is something to be very self-aware of. Even if you're shy, shyness is not an energy. Shyness is one of those things where you're like, let me get over this speed bump and then I'm going to be here. And so I've gone to several, even just in 2025, this was my New Year's resolution to myself. I work from home most of the time. I don't have a local community that I've networked in. And so I was like, I joined a book club by myself. I went into that book club not knowing anyone. And I was, like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know who to talk to. And I met this table of women who were just like, come sit with us. And I was like, all
Isn't
right,
that
I'm
great?
going to.
I love
And
that.
yes, and so now I'm, connect with them. Like we talk regularly outside of our book club. I've gone to several networking events by myself, not knowing anyone, and
Yeah,
I've
me
met
too. I
really
think
great.
you have to. You have to
Yeah.
just get over the hump, I think.
Yes, yes, like pull that plug on being scared and take a chance because you're not just taking a chance on the event, you're taking a chance on yourself and that's just going to help you because your network is your net worth. So,
It is. And I love that. Your network is your net worth. And the other thing too is, I heard you mention business cards.
yeah.
So say you meet like, I don't know, you actually talk to say 10 or 12 people at something that lasts 2 hours or whatever it is. And maybe you exchange business cards or whatever. But really the people that you're going to remember are the people that you felt that, positive energy and connection with. And
Mhm.
it might not even be somebody that's going to help you directly with your
Right.
business,
Right.
but it's somebody that you can get to know. Then they have their own set of networks, right? And
Yes.
now you're building a relationship with them. They really love what you're doing. They like your personality, whatever it is you've connected. And now they know somebody. They
Yeah.
know somebody who might advertise or might be a potential client for you or might like whatever. And so it's sort of that web that you
Yes.
start to build, right, of
Yes.
networks that I think is really important.
The biggest thing about networking is, from my perspective, is that you're not going in looking to ask for things from
Right.
people. What you're looking to do is build a relationship because people work with people they trust. And so when you start building that relationship and helping them get to know you and who you are, then they're going to remember you and your name and your business when they're talking with their brother, sister, pastor, whomever on, I know someone, I just met someone, and their name is now in my head because they didn't come to me in a blind ask. They came and said, hey, I want to get to know you. I want to understand who you are. And so there's a difference between, really networking and getting to know people and like doing cold calls. So you have to
Yes.
differentiate that before you go and what your intentions are.
I love what you said there, Jennifer, and you're absolutely right. And that even sort of crosses the bridge to what we do,
Yeah.
right, with an online magazine and its organic growth. It's like where Sanctuary is not known to have, clickbait or super provocative stuff. We stay away from the politics and all those other things. And the way we've grown is by people realizing the information, the inspiration, the empowering articles that are so well written that we have, the interesting things and historical stuff that we have in the magazine too. And then they tell other people about it, right? Because when you get the bots or you do the clickbait thing, those aren't going to be the readers that are going to stay with you.
Right.
So just to plug our magazine, I say we're not, this huge magazine with millions of followers, but if you look at our SEO, you see that people read, they stay on, they click multiple, pages. We're like triple industry standard and our newsletter opens and things like that. And so I am very proud of that because I know that our readers are actually reading and they believe in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so, that makes me feel really good. And I think it's the same kind of thing. It's that organic growth. It's don't expect to go to something and all of a sudden you come off with, three different new clients or whatever it may be because you went to a
Right.
networking event, but maybe you met just one person that you
Hmm.
really connected with. And from that one person, you learn about other businesses and you learn about other women's challenges. And all of that's important, right, to what we're doing in business.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I
Getting
love
to know
learning
people
from
and
other
getting
people.
to know.
I'll
Yeah.
actually ask about things that I'm struggling with,
Yeah.
other business women. And, you get the best advice that way too, right? So the whole learning experience thing
Mhm.
is
It's
really
the
important too.
unofficial mastermind that you're getting, and that,
Yes.
learning from others, having that growth mindset and not going into it thinking that you always have the answer, um, gives you an opportunity to learn a lot of different ways to handle problems that you may be sitting there thinking, like, how am I going to do this? That's one
Yeah.
more thing on my to-do list that I have to figure
Oh, I
out.
know.
And so it's just easy when
Yeah.
you're having these conversations, you're like, oh, I just got the best idea. I'm going
Yeah.
to go and apply that idea to my problem and see how that turns out.
Right, right. Now, I
So
wanted to give you just a few minutes to talk about anything new that's coming up. I know you do a lot of new speaking engagements. I know you have a little birdie told me we have a new piece from you for our May issue, so you can talk about that. Or maybe even, you live in North Carolina, anything about your local area that you love, anything you want to say to listeners before we sign off.
perfect. So I was hired to be the keynote speaker. So this is going to be my first technical keynote speaking engagement for a next generation summit. So this is where I'm going to go help leaders learn how to put together their own next generation. And so we're going to be looking at identifying different leaders from different backgrounds. We're going to be looking at succession planning. We're going to be looking at just leadership from a different level and being able to communicate from different levels, whether that's constructive or, giving positive feedback. And so that's going to be something that's very, very exciting. And I also have another workshop on psychological safety. This is one that is near and absolutely dear to my heart. When you were talking about just the team environment and making sure that you feel open to talk and you can, share those risks that you want to take, and you can share your feedback with the whole team without feeling like you're going to be criticized or put down for that. That's all psychological safety. It's all about building efficient and effective teams. And that's something that I've done a deep load of research on. And so obviously I'm very passionate about it. So I'm very excited to do another workshop on that. And so those are a few things that are coming up. In addition to my May article, which happens to be about networking, ironically, I did not choose the best advice that matched my May article, but it really truly is something that I feel strongly about. So this article is on networking in the digital world. There's a lot of things that you can do from the computer and from your phone to build a really strong network. So I'm very excited to share about
I
that.
can't wait to see that one, Jennifer. That's going to be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, I'll close as I always do by wishing all of our listeners and our readers good health, happiness, and continued inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us on Team Talk today.
Bye, everyone.